Bing boing bing. Everybody has a story to tell with Toddy One Skip. Hey guys, this is Everybody Has a Story to Tell with Toddy One Skip. I am Toddy One Skip. Welcome to my channel. Thank you guys. So I want to say right away that I was on a 4-hour live stream today on Lady K's channel. A live stream today, October 7th, 2025. Patrick Rourke came on and he answered questions. I know that I said that I was going to ask him a bunch of questions from you guys. Guys, a few of you have said, hey, why didn't you do that on your channel? Let me tell you. I am always going to be about the message, not the voice that puts it out. So if the message is important enough, I want it put out. And it doesn't matter if I'm the voice of that or not. That's not the important thing when it comes to certain things. The Wayne videos, I'm going to get my shit for that. But listen, Patrick has been accused of some horrific things that I didn't even know about. So I had spoken to Patrick yesterday, like I said, and I reached out to Lady K with Patrick's permission and said to her, listen, I've spoken with Patrick. He wants to answer questions. He wants a safe platform to talk from. Can you please ask your subscribers? So she said, absolutely. And I was going to be on Lady K's channel at 12 o'clock today. So Lady K, I was on her channel. Lady K was asking questions and Patrick was answering them on my text message. So he was texting me the answer. So he was listening to the live stream. Absolutely not a problem. But because he was answering the questions and I thought, wow, there's two of us here. You know, I know that there's unfortunately a lot of people that aren't being fair to him right now. And they're just going by one people's narrative. And I thought, well, it's probably a safer place to have him on Lady K's channel because while she's talking to him, I could pay attention to the chat. And while I'm talking to him, she could pay attention to the chat. And Patrick seemed like he was ready to answer questions. So I reached out to him and I said, do you want to come on here? You know, I promise that, you know, I'll do my best to protect you as far as the hate. So, you know, I wasn't going to not ask him questions in the comments from the chat. I was just going to ask them nicely. You know what I'm saying? So I reached out to Lady K and she said, yeah, let's do it. So he was on for 4 hours. For 4 hours being asked some really inappropriate questions as well as legitimate questions. And, you know, I give him kudos. He showed up. He didn't lose his cool. He was happy to answer the questions. We saw a little bit of a personality, a sense of humor in him. And, you know, I'm not saying he's completely innocent of everything, but I do believe that his intention was to help the Whittakers. Now, if he was going to get paid for helping the Whittakers, I don't have a problem with that. And you guys shouldn't either. When you go to March of Dimes and you offer March of Dimes $1 to help or leave it in their little bin, you know, their little tip jar, whatever it is, not a tip jar, but, you know, they take 90 cents of that and they fill their pockets. And 10 cents of that goes to the people that they're supposed to help. So when you guys get upset with content creators and such, just remember, even things like March of Dimes and all that, you know, will take money. Salvation Army, Red Cross. I mean, you need to look into it and then come to the content creators and bitch. Guys, Patrick Rourke, you know, answered so many questions that I really want you to go over and listen to the live stream over on Lady K's channel, even if you listen to it at 1.5 speed. Okay. So there's so much. There's simply just so much to it. And I know one thing, Eric hasn't answered any questions. He did his own self-dialogue. Some of the people in the comments were brutal. And now I'm not saying mean, but they were cynical And he still answered those questions. So, how much was there a contract? Yes, there was a contract. It was written by Eric, according to Patrick. It was broken down in 3 ways. It didn't matter how many Whittakers there were. There was the Facebook page that was Patrick's, that he got his finances for. He talked about his finances. He showed receipts for money that was sent to Eric. You guys had so many questions. And I'm going to address this one time and one time only, because I said this as well. I brought up Timmy Time. A lot of you had concerns with Timmy Time. And I said Timmy Time I didn't like. I thought it was inappropriate. First of all, I made a mistake. I apologize. Patrick was not in his underwear. He was in what I think he said gym shorts. He was in gym shorts. And, listen, I'm from a city. We do things differently here. But, there's nothing wrong with scratching a family member's back. And that's the way he looked at Timmy. He looked at Timmy, he said, Timmy's like a child. If a child asks you to scratch your back, are you going to scratch your back? And it's too bad that the world is what it is and people go to the darkest places. But I also want you to think about something. If there was something nefarious about that, would you put it online for the whole world to see? I'm just saying, So I think that Patrick hasn't been, for the most part, I think a narrative was made up before Patrick had any chance to realize what was going on, and for him to be prepared for this. I think a lot of stuff went on behind his back that he wasn't aware of. That's my personal feeling. That's my personal feeling. Patrick. I also feel like Eric was a lot more suave, a lot more shrewd than Patrick was, and that Patrick more or less felt inferior to Eric's business savvy. Few of you asked about Brian Cody. Patrick has never met Brian Cody. They had a woman in common, and I'll leave that there. That was, I think, in 2019. The house is not condemned. Patrick was never told that he couldn't see Betty. Betty got a letter from Eric's lawyer, and it said that unfortunately Betty broke the rules of contract in a certain date by talking on other people's YouTube channels. Therefore, there was a competition clause or something like that. Yeah, I don't think that Betty understands that, so there you go. Patrick said he never got the letter from the lawyer. There is a shed on the property that somebody said was donated. Patrick proved that he's making monthly payments on that shed. Go check out Lady K's live, and I'll put some receipts here. Let's see, what else do I know about this? Patrick has not gotten any of the money that was supposed to be shared, and the Whittakers have not gotten any of the money that was supposed to be shared. Now, this is something controversial. I'm just going to put it out there because I'm a fair person. So Patrick said, and I'm waiting for the receipts, he said that he had the money for the Whittakers, their share of the money on his YouTube channel, from his from his Facebook channel, and he wasn't giving them the money because BJ was there on property. And I questioned him. It was me that questioned him and said, hey, you know, aren't you doing the same thing that Eric was doing? And he said, Toddy, you could think that way, but I know as soon as I give them that money, it's going to be gone. It's going to be down the road spent on, he said drugs. He felt that way in regards to BJ. And he said, and then they're going to be saying they need this and they need that. Well, if they're counting on him for things and he's doing things, that kind of muddies the water and makes things gray. And I understand where he's coming from. I do. But I also understand that when somebody earns their money, it's their money. That's my feeling. But I also understand that I'm not a neighbor. And you kind of feel, I guess, like you want to protect and do what's best, even if it causes some problems. So that's a personal decision. I asked Patrick, did he think that BJ was ABUSIVE, and if there was any of that he knew about, and he said he did not. He did not. It was allegations. So, I mean, that's the stuff that I spoke of with Patrick. And again, I'm going to put the link to Lady K's channel. I'm going to put the receipts that I have. And as I get more receipts, I will either post them or do a video on them, just so this could, be sorted. Just so this could be sorted. Listen, there's an investigation going on. They did take two of Patrick's phones. They took them. Um, they asked if he was going to have to jailbreak them, and he said, no, you don't have to jailbreak my phones. Here, take them. So, yeah. And that's what I got for you right now, guys. Thank you again for allowing me to be part of your day. I really do appreciate it so much so, guys. And, yeah, this is a horrible, horrible story. I did ask Patrick if he thought that I think Lady K asked Patrick if he thought that the Whittakers would end up being reunited and in home, and he said yes. Yes, he did. He totally believed that. So I hope so. I mean, I hope so. That's another controversy. Are they better off or aren't they better off? And you guys know how I feel about that. So, guys, again, this is Everybody Has a Story to Tell with Toddy One Skip. I am Toddy One Skip. I thank you so much for allowing me to be part of your day. I appreciate it. Guys, heads up with the people that we meet. They're not often good people, unfortunately. And sometimes by trying to make a distraction, they make the people around them look guilty. So we got to use critical thinking. We have to use critical thinking. Yes? All right, guys. See you on the next one. Be good. Thank you. Bing, boing, bing. Everybody has a story to tell with Toddy One Skip.